Hey, I'm Deidre Detterman, host of the Do It My Way podcast, where we empower women business owners and CEOs to do business on their terms with no regrets, hesitation, or fear. I'm obsessed with all things marketing. I started my career in television, and I remember sitting in countless meetings, listening to executives talk about things that needed to change, but they never did. I was always thinking, what if we did it my way? Once I became an entrepreneur and I started living life on my terms, working the hours I want to work, making the money I want to make, I started to feel success. I was finally in control of my destiny. I hope you will join me on this journey discovering how you can do it your way. You're going to love my next guest, Dawn Chesser of 6 Day Snacks. She went from stay-at-home mom to entrepreneur. She had a cancer diagnosis that she overcame. Now she is shipping her products all over the country. You don't want to miss this. Dawn, welcome to Do It My Way podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. You got the memo. You've got the bright clothes on. Yes. That looks great on you. No, we like bright clothes around here. I love that. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm so excited to hear your story about 6 Day Snacks. I'm a huge health nut myself. And so let's just dive right in. Yeah. Tell me how it got started.
Yeah. So we started out of our home kitchen about 6 years ago. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time and a cancer survivor, was looking for a way to help pay off my bills. And so we just took this idea of let's sell the salsa that we've been making forever. Let's offer it to friends and family and see where it goes from there. And next thing we knew, our community showed up and we had bills paid in, I think, 6 weeks. I was able to call the hospital and say I can pay in full.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah. And
was it like a GoFundMe or a private Facebook group, or just you put it on Facebook, or how did it work?
Right. So I solely used Facebook. So I just did a post. Our community had followed me through the cancer journey, and I was very transparent through that whole process. We quickly realized that we were going to need support to get through it. We had 3 young kids at home. And so, they'd already been with us through the cancer treatment process. And I had that final scan in 2018. Big scan. It was a 5-year, came back all clear. Everybody celebrated with us. We threw a big party. I mean, the whole thing. And then the bills started rolling in right before Christmas that year. And so, I was desperate. Was like, okay, I just want something to help pay these bills off. And so, that's just kind of how we started. And I put it out on Facebook because we already had that community following.
And these are just friends? These are just friends. At this point?
Yeah.
Friends, family?
Friends and family. And and then they started sharing. And so the next thing we knew, we were shipping to places that I couldn't deliver, because the kids and we would hop in the car and we would deliver door to door, or people would come pick up off our porch. And then we started getting orders for shipments, and it was just kind of crazy. It was mind blowing. I couldn't believe how much people wanted to help, and get something in return. And it was it felt kind of like a partnership in a way, and it was just mind blowing. So
how many people did you just start getting friend requests, and like how did it kind of start growing? Just people are sharing, and then you're getting friend requests. Do you have a business page at this point, or it's all just personal? Just
all personal. My husband didn't even have Facebook at the time, so it was just my page. Right. But it was just friends, and people would reach out to me through friends, or would send those friend requests and be like, hey, I heard you have homemade salsa. I want to try it, and I want to support you in what you're doing. And so that's kind of how it grew. But
people love to have meaning behind a product.
Yes.
And purpose. And I think that you just proved that right there.
Right.
And rather than just going to a GoFundMe and say, hey, I have cancer, we need money, and that happens, and friends and family will donate, but you're being useful. You're like, I have a skill set. I make great salsa. I'm going to get it out there. I mean, who doesn't want to, buy some homemade salsa and help the cause?
Right. Exactly.
That's an incredible way to start. Yeah. So how big is the community?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I'm not really even sure.
Okay.
It just, it just started with my little, group of, however much on Facebook, and then it's just kind of grown out from there. But
so do you still share like a lot of personal stuff on there, kind of your journey? Yes. And everything, so people are following you?
I do. Not as much anymore. But, we do still share, kind of the business side of things. I found that people just enjoy following along, and they love, just kind of seeing the behind the scenes of things and being able to support something. And so, I do still share, just not as much. I've kind of shifted more towards our business Facebook and Instagram, and I kind of do more there. But we still share some things there too, just for like that fun
I mean, you can grow an entire business doing that.
Right.
And really, we coach personal branding. And whether you know you're doing it or not, you're creating a powerful personal brand. Behind being a woman business owner, you're a mom trying to do all things, a cancer survivor. There's a lot of things that people can connect with you on. And that's what personal branding is all about. It's you being you. And so I love that you showed up authentically as yourself. And there probably wasn't, like, it's not roses, right?
Right.
You're having days where did you go through chemo? Let's talk the cancer story.
Yeah.
So thyroid cancer, correct?
Correct.
Tell me when you found out and kind of your treatment and how all that went.
Yeah. So 11 years ago this month, this is December, 11 years ago this month, I got the official diagnosis. We had spent, I think it was 3 or 6 months prior to that, just going through tests and scans and x-rays and just trying to figure out, I had a lump in my throat, and we were trying to figure out what it was. And so one doctor, I think I was in the hospital or doctor's office every week over that span, just trying to find answers. And we finally got the answer. And I had surgery 2 days after Christmas, had my thyroid removed, had a bunch of lymph nodes removed. And thyroid cancer is usually pretty straightforward and easy to treat. But when they got in there, I had so many lymph nodes affected that they recommended not just an internal radiation, but an external radiation as well. So I think it was April or May of that following year that I finally finished radiation, rang the bell, all of that. But it took another, I think all in all, it took right about 2 years before I finally had a clear scan. I had a couple of failed scans that still showed activity. And so we had to do, just keep our eye on that and see if the internal radiation had worked. And it finally did. But it took about 2 years of all of that to get there. So.
And do you see with thyroid cancer, did you physically see a lump, or you felt it, or how did?
I just felt it. So I felt it was a lymph node that had actually was swollen, and I had a sinus infection. And so I thought, oh, well, maybe my body was just healing from that, but it never went away. And so my husband was like, you're constantly like feeling here. You might need to go see your doctor about it. And so I did, and that's kind of what started. But once I started feeling around, I could feel the nodules on my thyroid as well. And so that just kind of started that whole journey for us.
And you had 3 little ones at the time, or you had just delivered?
Yeah. So my youngest was, when I got the diagnosis, my youngest was 21 months old.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So even just being a single mom, or not single mom, being a mom of 3 little ones and dealing with that is really tough. And the bills can get out of control. I had a son born 12 weeks early. And so he was in the NICU for 77 days. And my husband and I I think it added up to $900,000 by the time, almost $1 million. Yeah. He had blood transfusions and just every other doctor coming to see him, and 77 days in the hospital adds up so much.
It does.
And so that's overwhelming.
It is.
And look what came out of it.
Right.
I mean, now you're an entrepreneur. Did you ever think of becoming an entrepreneur?
It had always been in the back of my head. So my grandparents were small business owners.
Okay.
My husband's parents were small business owners. My dad had always talked about wanting to start some business. He actually owned a bar for a little bit in Stillwater.
Well, fun. That's my favorite place. Okay.
So, it was just kind of in my blood on both sides, and just kind of always in the back of my head. But I loved being a mom and a stay-at-home mom. And so I just never, I never thought, oh, that would be me, so.
And out of necessity.
Right.
I mean, to become an entrepreneur and for your kids to watch you do this and be resilient and resourceful. And, you have a talent. Everyone has a talent inside them that they can make money off of, but they don't think about that.
Right.
I mean, who would have thought, right?
Right.
So walk me through, because I know if you're making salsa out of your home, you don't have all these licenses and food handlers, and I don't even know what all you need, right? You're just making for family and friends. It doesn't matter. When did it hit the point where you're like, okay, this is like a business where we need to go get certified, or we need to get a license, or food handlers? Like, tell me how that went.
Right. So it was at the end of 2018. Had the bills paid off and all that. And, people celebrated with us, and they were like, that's awesome, but can we still have salsa? And so my husband and I, at the time, the job he was in, things were not going like we had hoped. And so we kind of had this heart to heart. We're like, is this it? Do we take this leap of faith? And so we actually sat down with a friend of ours. It's his dad, actually. He's a retired CPA. My husband had worked with him in his business. And we kind of picked his brain. Like, okay, Mike, if we were to make a business out of this, what do you recommend? Like, what do we not know that we need to know? And so he said, well, first, you're going to need a commercial kitchen.
Right.
And so we were like, well, we have no idea where to even start. And so he was the one that actually recommended Kitchen 66 to us. And he said,
which is great.
He said, you need to reach out to them. They have a shared use kitchen, so that you're not having to invest all this money to open your own space when you're just starting out. He said, reach out to them. And I tell you what, we believe in God and we believe in his plan. And we just felt like our steps were ordered.
It was easy.
It was easy.
It just was
place. And it was so crazy because we met with Mike. My husband reached out to Kitchen 66 and they just so happened to have an info session happening like that next day or that next week. I mean, it was almost immediate. And so we went to that info session. It was wild. We just kind of looked at each other like, maybe we're supposed to do this.
Right.
And so it was just, we applied for the program, we got in. I mean, it just kind of...
So Kitchen 66 is in Mother Road Market,
Correct.
Which I love. We had Kathy Taylor on the podcast. Love her. I mean, she's, the invention behind all of that and investor in that, which is so huge. I've had several clients use Kitchen 66. So share that for just a little bit. Yeah. How do you get on the list? Do you get a 2-hour window? Are you sharing with 10 people? Like, how does that work?
Right. So their kitchen, they have, it's an online website. And you just go in and they have different stations and you can book your time for what you need. And then you just pay for what you use hourly. And so it's super simple and convenient. Or at least that's how it was. It's been a few years since we've been in there, but yeah.
So when did it get to the point where you're like, okay, we need our own?
So we were kind of forced to. COVID hit in 2020. So we joined Kitchen 66 in 2019, went through the launch program, got licensed there. We're working out of there. This is a full-time gig for us. This is how we're feeding our family now. My husband had left his job to help me full-time, and COVID hit. And Kitchen 66, we were one of their first phone calls because they knew how much we used their kitchen. And they were so wonderful, and they were so great at communicating, saying, hey, this whole thing, like the world's shutting down, we're trying to figure out what we're supposed to do and all this because we have so many companies that come in and use, and we got to share space, we got to be safe. And so, they were really good at communicating ahead of time what was going on. And so we knew they were going to have to close. And the crazy thing is, I think it was 2 weeks before all of this happened, my husband had happened to meet another entrepreneur, Acai, the owner of Acai, Jason, and they were just chatting. And Jason was like, if you ever need to use my kitchen, just let me know. And I was like, well, that was a weird conversation. Why would he say that?
Right.
2 weeks later, Kitchen 66 had to close indefinitely. And so Craig called Jason and said, hey, this is going to sound crazy, but I think we got to take you up on your offer. And so we actually worked out of Acai at night for several months.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not using it.
Yeah.
For him to help you out is so great.
Yeah, such a blessing.
Yes. So you're like cooking at midnight?
Yeah. Well, I know, which is funny because I used to be a NICU nurse actually.
Oh,
and worked night shift. Yeah, not here, somewhere else. But but anyways, I kind of joked. I was like, I did my time doing night shift.
Right.
I'm too old for this.
Right.
I'm in my 40s now. I can't.
Yeah, and
I can't do
then
this.
the kids the next day, they don't understand. You got to get up and go.
Exactly. So we worked out of there for a few months, and then the opportunity presented itself for us to purchase our own space. So
that's great. And you're in Broken Arrow.
We are in Broken Arrow.
And tell me about your space, because you have some other businesses in there as well. Do you guys own the building, or you just use your part, or how does that work?
Right. So we lease the space. Okay. And then we own all the equipment.
Nice.
So we've got like a huge walk-in refrigerator, and we've got ovens and kettles, and we've just been adding pieces a little bit at a time. And but yes, we do share the space as well. So when COVID hit, Kitchen 66 had to close, and they reopened. A lot of people had started businesses at home during 2020. Yeah. And so when things reopened, there was this influx of people that needed a place to work out of. And so we actually worked alongside Kitchen 66 and opened up our own shared use space.
Oh, so everyone in your space is doing cooking.
So yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's great.
So we would bounce people back and forth, we'd be like, oh, if you live in Tulsa, go to Kitchen 66, that's closer. And they would send people our way if they, were close to us in Broken Arrow. And so we've got, I think, a dozen companies right now that are licensed in our space with us.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, do any of the products cross over, or is there collaboration, or everyone kind kind of does their own.
Yeah. We've got kind of a mix of things. We have other prepackaged companies there. We have food trucks. We've got a bakery. So a little bit of everything.
That's so great. I love that. Okay, so share with me some of your products, and then I want to talk about these products too. So what's your favorite product?
My favorite is probably our mild salsa right out there.
Okay, that's this?
Yeah, and that's our original. So that was the original recipe.
Green chili mild salsa. That looks amazing. It's got the little made in Oklahoma on there, which is great. So do you have a hot salsa?
We do. So we go all the way up to Carolina Reaper.
Oh.
And everything in between.
Okay.
So yes, we have something for
My husband
everybody.
likes hot. So
yes,
they would. I can't. Mild is usually good for me, but okay. And everyone's raving about this. When I said that I was interviewing you, several people on my team were like, "You've got to try these." So candied jalapenos.
Correct.
Yum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Yeah. So those are our sweet jalapenos, kind of our take on a pepper jelly, and they go great on everything from just like a block of cream cheese and crackers to chicken salad, burgers, deviled eggs, nachos, you name it.
And it already has the sweet, so you don't necessarily need the jelly. Just
right.
Oh,
right.
Yum.
Right.
I'm going to try that. That's going to be my go-to. Okay, and then what do we have here?
That is our newest. It's Tex-Mex relish. So if you live here in Oklahoma, you know what Tex-Mex relish is. The restaurants here serve it.
Yes.
It's like my favorite item on the restaurant menu. And so I thought, I've got to figure out how to make this so that I can have it whenever I want. And so we rolled it out this past summer, and we cannot keep it in stock right now. So it's
can you buy something like that like at the grocery store? I've never seen that.
I've never seen it.
I've
never seen
so
it.
that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah. And then the stuff on the grocery store shelves usually has added stuff in there that I don't want to consume.
Right.
So I wanted to figure out how to do it without having all that extra stuff that we don't need in there.
So were you a health nut because of the cancer, or you were kind of a health nut before that?
I was a health nut before that.
Okay.
So, my family was kind of in shock when I got diagnosed with cancer, because they were like, wait, she's the health nut of the family.
Right.
Like, why is she the one getting diagnosed, you know? But no, it started from a young age. I was sick a lot as a kid, just sinus infections and allergies. And so at some point, I had picked up the notion that diet can make a difference.
Huge difference.
And so I just would listen and learn as much as I could over the years, and just started changing little things here and there, trying to take our favorite things and make them as healthy as possible and still taste good.
And has cooking always been a part of your, from early age?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love to cook, and I love good food, and I just love the fellowship around good food too. So
definitely. Okay, I saw some more products on your website. So share what else you have.
Yes. So we've got a whole line of salsas, just a traditional red from mild all the way through XXX. They all have a similar flavor profile. They just get hotter with each level as we add the peppers.
Okay.
We do, at the request of some of our super fans, I call them, we added a verde.
I do like verde.
Yeah, those are fun to cook with. So we use those for enchilada sauce, tacos, eggs, that kind of thing. And then we added a line of fruit salsas a couple years ago. So like mango, peach, and then we did a pineapple verde. And then, of course, we've got the peppers, and then farmers market, and some of the health food stores around here, they carry our granola bites.
I saw the granola bites because I saw peanut butter. Peanut butter is like my favorite.
Yeah,
so.
same. So and those are just like a healthy, I tell people who've never had them before, they taste like a no-bake cookie, but without all the butter and sugar.
Oh, nice.
So we use, pretty simple ingredients in those as well. And
yum. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to our team. We're gonna have to get some tortilla chips and have some little snacks later. I love that. Okay, so tell me about the name. Is there meaning behind it?
There sure is. So this has been a faith journey for us. 6th Day was inspired by our pastor's teaching. He said, he's taught many times, if God worked in 6 days, we need to have a 6-day-a-week work as well. So on the days off from our 9-to-5 job, we need to have a side project. And so that's what inspired us to, take our salsa and offer it to sell as kind of that side project to help pay off the cancer treatment bills. And I wanted to name it in honor of his teaching because that, that's what inspired us to start.
That is great. I love that story.
Yeah.
Well, what would be your number one piece of advice for that woman out there that wants to start a business? Maybe they're a chef, maybe they like to cook, maybe, their passion is fashion or something else.
Right.
What is your advice for them to get started?
Yeah. I would say you said the word passion. My first real boss, when I was in high school and college, he told me as I headed off to college, he said, whatever you do, pursue your passion. And that has just stuck with me, and it's always been in the back of my head of, what am I passionate about? And then when we started this, I was like, I have been passionate about healthy food my whole life, and so I would say whatever you do, as an entrepreneur and starting a small business, it takes grit and guts. And so you've got to be passionate about whatever it is that you're going to go after. So you got to believe in it, and you've got to know that you are good at it and it's your gifting. So.
And you had a lot on the line. It wasn't just, oh gosh, I need to get to work to make some extra money. You had major bills to pay off, and then you have a family to support, and then your husband quits his job to help because it's becoming overwhelming. How has it been working with your husband?
It's been amazing. I get people all the time that are like, I can't imagine working with my husband. I'm like, it's the best ever. Do we always get along? No.
Right.
we have our disagreements because we're both headstrong. We have our disagreements all the time. I mean, even down to like what the labels should look like.
Right.
But, it's in the end, at the end of the day, we can look at each other and say, we're on the same team. We're here to help each other be better. We're here to create this legacy for our family. And I mean, that's just the basis of a marriage. It's figuring out how to work together.
Definitely. So, is he like operations, or what is his role in the company?
Yeah, so he is sales. He's okay. So good at. He's just good at customer relations, and so he kind of handles all that. It's funny. I'm the planner, but he books all of our events.
Yeah,
and he takes care of all of our licensing and all of those kinds of things. Whereas I'm kind of more in the kitchen, recipes and things like that. That's kind of my side. And he does all the heavy lifting for us,
That's great.
So, yeah.
So do you have a product right now that you're working on that's like something fun, exciting? Is something you can share, or is it too early?
No, we've got a couple. So because the Tex-Mex relish has been such a hit, we've been asked to do other versions of it. Some, we have a lot of older women who are customers and want things that are not spicy. So I've been asked to do a not spicy version of that. And then we're working on a roasted salsa. We get asked a lot for a roasted garlic salsa. So we've done our first round with it and have gotten some feedback, so we know what we need to change. So we'll be working on that over the next couple months. And we like to roll things out as farmers market is starting. Get that buzz.
People are out and right. Do you do the farmers market? Is that where you start?
We do.
Still?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So we do the one right here down the street at Kendall Whittier, Tulsa Farmers Market. We're still there every Saturday. They do a winter market, and we're there. And then, of course, we do the Rose District April through October. So
nice.
Yeah.
And so are most of your sales there, or most of your sales online?
It's kind of a good mix of online, of wholesale. We do wholesale accounts. We're in Reesers and Aikens and things like that here locally. And then we do a lot of events. So state fairs, we do some vintage shows. We travel around and do those. We looked at the numbers, and it's kind of an even split on all of it. So
events are great because you can also have that personal connection, and your product also has that emotion behind it and the purpose, which makes the difference. If people can hear your story, it's like, oh, I want to support a business that, has a bigger purpose than just we're selling products.
Right. Exactly.
Which is great. Yeah. Okay. So you used to deliver, just you and your kids load up in the car and go deliver to friends and family. And then obviously now you're in how many states?
Oh, gosh.
And you don't have to know off the top.
That's a great
but
question.
I read there were 4 or 5 different states that you're going to
adding,
that you're delivering and right. shipping off to. And so how did you do a transition from a business standpoint? Because obviously you getting in your car delivering and then getting a full system down where you've got, do you use a third party fulfillment house that sends stuff, or how do you guys do that?
So we still mostly do it ourselves. So my husband is in Oklahoma City every week restocking our retail partners over there. We partnered with another local company here, Roark Acres Honey. They're some good friends of ours, and so we take some of their products to Oklahoma City. They take care of some of our products.
Okay, that's a great little partnership.
Yeah, that's been awesome just to have that camaraderie and help. We are looking to be able to expand so that we can get into a distribution warehouse. So there's just some growing pains that come with that. And so that is definitely on our horizon for this next year. So
and the timing has to be right.
Exactly.
And the amount you have to pay to do that, is it worth what you're, it's such a juggling act.
It is.
So what would you say 5 years from now, where do you hope that six day snacks are? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's happening?
So we joke, of course, we're here in Oklahoma. So there's the Head Country barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
And so, we got asked so many questions in the beginning, and one of the things I said that stuck was I want to be the head country of salsa.
Yes,
so,
that's a great goal.
And we've actually gotten to know.
I was going to say, do you
head
know
country?
them?
We do through the NYO Coalition. Yeah, we've gotten to kind of meet CR and his family and all that, and so
that's a great mentor for you.
He is, he is, because he grew up in it, and
he's done it.
Yeah, exactly, and it's fun to follow him. Follow his social media journey where all he gets to go now too, and talk to him about State Fair and what it was like when he was younger. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what my kids are doing.
Yes.
But anyways, that was kind of what I said, and it stuck unexpectedly.
Great.
So, but in 5 years, all that to say, I would love to be known as the salsa for Oklahoma, and beyond, really, with the internet. And just being able to ship to places. That's how we've picked up retail partners in other states that we can't personally deliver to, just through the internet and fair.com and things like that. So I would love to be able to just continue growing and expanding and be known as the salsa to go to. So
that's great. It's a great goal, and I can definitely see you getting there. So let's talk about social media for a minute, because it's so important, especially for businesses that are starting out. Social media is a free way. I mean, you can definitely pay for ads, but in the beginning, it's a free way to create a community, to get the word out there, to get people to get to know your personal brand and your product and what you're doing. So how do you guys handle social media? Do you do it yourself? How often do you shoot content? How often do you post? Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do still handle it in-house. My husband is really good at taking pictures, or at least better than me. So I use a lot of his pictures. When I remember, I go in and take videos, and I just I've tried to be more intentional this year about organizing my photos and videos so that when I sit down to do it, which I have allotted a block of time every week to sit down and work on social media.
That's
just
great.
Focus time. And then I have those folders that are already organized, so I can go in there and I'm not having to rack my brain for content.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's already there. I've been taking pictures all week during production or at events, whatever. My husband's sending me stuff, and it's like, okay, I can just plug and play.
And reuse something that we did last year, you can easily put back in, and, if the theme is right and all that.
Exactly.
So, and your kids are getting the ages where they should probably be pretty savvy at social media. So that might be a little good job for them.
Absolutely. Especially my daughter.
Yeah. Tell me about your kids as far as being involved in the business. Do they do anything with the business?
Oh, yes. Oh,
okay.
yes.
So what role do they play?
So they all three have their food handler's permit.
Okay. And their ages are?
They are 16, 14, and 12.
Okay. And how old do you have to be?
There is no age requirement.
Okay. Interesting.
They just need to be able to read and pass the exam.
Okay.
So my daughter actually had just learned to read when we had her do her food handler's permit.
That's amazing.
And it's all online now, so it's super convenient. And but yeah, they help us in production every week. They help us at events. They help us load up, tear down, all of that. So, and then my oldest will have his license here shortly, so he'll be taking over the farmers market this year.
Oh, how fun!
So yeah.
I mean, it's a family affair.
It is. It truly is.
So you and your husband, the kids are involved. Do you have any other family members involved?
We do, actually. My mom retired from her job 2 years ago, and she came on to help us full time. So this has been her retirement project with us.
And she can see the grandkids and spend time with you and all that.
Exactly.
I bet she's in heaven.
She is. She's our biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing to have her along with us, and truly a blessing. So
that's so great. Think about the invaluable experience your kids are getting, because it's one thing to go have a job at, the local juice smoothie place, and you make smoothies and you leave for the day, but they're seeing the behind the scenes, everything.
Right.
How the orders coming in, how are we, doing the production line, getting it shipped out, all of that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to have any experience like that, growing up. So, which they might be like, I want to just hang out with my friends and not go work.
There is that at times,
that's so great.
But it is. I do. I hope that they look back one day and are like, I'm so glad that we had that.
Oh, they will.
So
they will. They're still a little bit young now, and they might become entrepreneurs, themselves.
Right.
So you said you had entrepreneurs in your family, but you never really thought about being one.
Right.
So, which is, I mean, I kind of was a similar path. I didn't think until my son was born early, and my world flipped upside down. I couldn't do the corporate job because I needed to take care of him. And so I became an entrepreneur. It's funny how God takes you down a path that you think, I thought my world was over.
Right.
I had this great corporate job, making great money, dream job, all of that. And then it just stopped overnight. but there was a new path,
Right.
which is so great.
Right.
Well, what about you personally? Anything that's on your bucket list as far as, you could easily become a speaker, you could be an author, tell your story, a podcaster. Is there anything like that in your horizon, or have you thought about?
Gosh, I haven't really. I think we've just been in so much the throes of getting started. Right, exactly. I will say I did not see this journey coming. And 2 years before we started this, we had made the decision to homeschool our kids. And it all, as we're looking back, we're like, it all makes sense. And now we have about a dozen other team members, and most of them are high school homeschool students. And so, I think on my horizon, I would love to be known as the one who helps to get these kids ready for their next season of life. Like, I have found it such an honor that they have wanted to come work with us, and that we're their first job. And this is how you clock in, and I expect you to be here at this time. And, just kind of getting those
kids out of college don't know half those things.
Right. So I think, I would love to be known as the person or the company that that kids maybe come to for like that first start and have like a great foundation for their next, whatever they go on to do. So you know
who you need to meet? I feel like you need to meet Paula Marshall. We've had her on the podcast, so she's Bama Pie.
Oh.
And obviously they have a massive production, like 4 million pies a day is what they make. But she started on the line and has worked her way up, and they have a lot of family members that work there. I feel like she'd be an awesome mentor for you to meet one day. But anyway, well, where do we go if we want to find and buy these products?
Yes.
Like farmers market, you mentioned a couple, but
correct.
If it's not local, where's the best place?
Right. You can always find us online, sixthdaysnacks.com. Okay. It's just spelled out sixth, SIXTH, daysnacks.com. We ship 6 days a week. So
great stocking stuffers. Like I'm thinking right now, my family loves salsa. They love jalapenos. I mean, that's just a great little, or you're showing up to a party.
Right.
You could bring a bottle of wine and bring some salsa, I mean, that's such a great combo.
That's all you need.
Well, what would you say is your proudest moment, like in your career so far?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, probably being awarded Entrepreneur of the Year through the Broken Arrow Chamber.
Amazing.
Doesn't
get better than that.
Floored. To be nominated. I was just excited to be nominated. I'm like, here I am. I was just a stay-at-home mom,
So great.
And just a couple years later, we were nominated for that. And never in a million years did I think I would win, because I saw who we were up, who else had been nominated. I was like, these are some big names. These are people I look up to.
Right.
And when they called our name, I was just over the moon. I'm like, because it wasn't just me, it's my whole team, my family, like we did it together. And it was just such a guys, we have worked hard. We have pulled all-nighters. We have given up our life savings. Like we sold our home to start this, all the things.
Did you really?
We did.
Sold your home?
We sold our home. And the day that we closed on the home, we went and bought our van, our delivery van. So it's bright red.
And where did you move? Did you just go rent?
We actually moved in with my mom.
Okay.
So
that's some sacrifice.
Yeah, it is. She believed in us so much that she said, you know what? If this is what you guys want to do, you are welcome to come live with me while you get this thing started and get back on your feet. And so we did. It was an all-in thing. So to make it full circle, to be awarded that was just to be able to look at my family and my mom and be like, we have sacrificed so much. We've given so much, and we still are, because that's what it takes. But it's like, wow. That's awesome.
And to hire your mom. You sell your house to go live with your mom so you can buy a van to go deliver.
Right.
And now you're hiring your mom.
Right.
I mean, that's such a great, just a very inspiring story. And I can just tell you just exude happiness and very, you're following the right path, your purpose in life. And I bet those kids just love, being mentored by you, and you're creating a little community for them to also be together with other homeschool kids and all that. So how does your day work as far as when does school happen and when does, are you still homeschooling?
We are.
Oh my
goodness. I know.
Okay. Share that with me. Does the day have structure or how does it work?
It does. It's still a little, I kind of had to let go of what I thought homeschool was supposed to look like, and I really feel like that was that's been a whole faith journey in and of itself of letting go how structured I thought. I'm a type A person. Mm-hmm. I'm everything needs to be planned out, to the minute. And I've had to learn to let a lot of that go. And it's been okay, and I've loved it because it's really kind of, evolved with us. And it's like, it fits in where it fits in. And that's okay. And it's teaching the kids. My husband calls it life school. He's like,
that's way more important.
Yeah. They're learning how to count back change. They're learning how to interact with people of all ages. They're learning how to interact with people who are kind and cheery and those who are having a horrible day and take it out on you, And so they're learning all kinds of things that you just can't teach in a book or classroom. And so, we fit in the book work. Early on in our homeschool journey, I had journaled, academics are important, but they're not everything. And so I've kind of held that nugget in the back of my mind as we plan out our days. And there are some days where we get to do a little bit more book work than others. And then there are a couple days a week where it's just all production.
Yeah.
And we need everybody's help.
That's invaluable anyway.
Yeah.
To take that through life is going to be really important for them. So
Yeah.
you're doing it. You're doing a great job. So you're inspiring. I just really appreciate you coming and sharing and, just being honest about everything, because some parts are really good and some parts are scary. Right. And, you had cancer on top of that, that you had to deal with. So I really appreciate that. I know the audience is going to love it. And I can't wait to try these products.
Yes.
So
thank
you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Do It My Way podcast. If you're wanting to build a personal brand, but you aren't sure where to start, I want you to book a discovery call with me at deidredetterman.com. I hope you are empowered today to do business on your terms with no regrets, hesitation, or fear. Again, head over to deidredetterman.com and click on Get a Quote.